Arizona Raven, good to see you. People, if you're just joining us, I am Captain Tommy Scoville. This is the Lifeboat. Hold on one moment. Sorry, people. We last minute decided to go live because it has been, at best, a somber day here at the Lifeboat. And to be really honest with you people, I don't intend to end Saturday on a somber note. So, we are here on the Lifeboat, and we intend to finish off with some laughs. Hopefully everybody is in agreement that this is in fact a really good idea on my part. And if by some chance you don't think that's a really good idea, defer to the captain, because the captain is almost always right. So people, if you're just joining us, I am Captain Tommy Scoville, and this is the Lifeboat. People, day started out with a bang is not really the right way to look at it. Today started off just simply awful. And we also had to take down the 100th video that we did as a boat. So what we're doing is we're coming on back. We're going to replace it with a video that is going to be upbeat and fun. And we're going to finish off the Saturday in much better spirits. Let's see. We have Jesse Southern Hot Peppers. We've got Hunter Haas. We have Fee Crispin. Fee, good to see you. Coming in from Australia. So we've got people coming in from all over the world. People, I really appreciate you stopping in. I know that I saw Raven is here from Arizona. Arizona Raven, good to see you. People are going to be straggling in, but I'm going to get this underway here shortly. Jesse, breathe deep in and out through your nose. Good advice. Charlie Mullins, excellent to see you, Charlie. Really, always good to see Charlie. Pamela Swan, Pamela, welcome. Good to see you on the boat. Mark, thank you for the email. Good to see you. Appreciate you being here. People, we are going to have a send-off for this Saturday that is going to be considerably better than how we started the day. Hopefully everyone is in agreement that, we should probably finish off with a bang. Greg F., appreciate you joining us, Greg. Good to see you. Flaming Jackson, always good. Jackson, always excellent to see you here. All right, people are getting in here. People, so I had a couple of emails today. Well, I always have a couple of emails today. But here's the deal. There is a term, and it gets used quite often. It's something that is a recurring theme, not just here on the boat, but in sobriety in general. And it's something I want to talk about because I want it eliminated. Plain and simple. I think it's something that needs to be addressed. And with any luck, it's something that needs to be removed. It's not effective in any way. Mark Webb, good to see you. Appreciate you stopping by. Donna, good to see you. Appreciate you. People, how many times have you heard someone say the phrase, they are living a sober existence? There were two different people today in emails that talked about their sober existence. People, that phrase has got to come to a ripping halt. Existence. I don't like it. People, are we existing? Honestly, when we start talking about the times that we spent under the influence, a term that gets used constantly is in the days when I was partying. So we go from partying to existing. I don't like it. To me, this doesn't make a tremendous amount of sense. Personally, people, I've never been happier than I am now sober. I'm not existing, people. I'm thriving. I am living the best life that Tommy Scoville has ever lived. And I spent plenty of time in the life, and I guess you could call it partying. There was times where certainly I went to an awful lot of parties, but to think that what I am doing right now is existing is something that I can't put up with. I really can't. Words mean things. Words tend to shape our attitudes, and they tend to shape the destiny of things to come. So, people, I don't want us concentrating on a sober existence What I would like us to do is concentrate on living our best lives and being happy, right? I want the best life that you have going forward, not to be an existence, not to be simply getting through or getting by. This really should be a celebration of the fact that nothing is going to hold you back from your dreams, right? Oh my goodness, Oculi Mortis. Oculi, good to see you, bud. Really, really happy you're here. Welcome to the live feed. People, we need to truthfully consider the things that we say when we describe our lives going forward. If not only for yourself, right? It's important that as you're trying to reprogram yourself, Brittany, excellent to see you. I really appreciate you stopping in. It's good to see you here. People, as you go forward sober, it's supposed to be a celebration of life, right? That's what we're doing. We no longer want to be a slave to anything, whether that is a substance, whether that is a chemical. We were slaves. That really is exactly what took place. We were living a life that was nowhere near ideal. So to go from that existence to where we are at now, you really cannot, you can't allow the words that you say and the words that you use to describe your new life to dictate something other than the best possible case scenario for you going forward. I mean, that's awful. I hope everybody can agree with me on this. So let's really, really start to think about the power of the words that we say. I am here to celebrate tonight. We're here to have fun. We're going to kick off this weekend with a bang, right? No more of the somber stuff and no more of the depressing stuff. That being said, there's no way to avoid, this morning was tough. Why was it tough? It was tough because words cause something to happen. Now, granted, those words hadn't been uttered, right? But words can do amazing things, right? Words cause wars. Words cause divorces. Words do things. So as we start to describe our lives, people, I want us to stop thinking about this as a sober existence. I'm living a sober existence. I'm thriving. A sober life is one thing, right? Because life is great. Everything about life is good. Existing is, I don't know, people. Not at all comfortable with it as a word. Maybe you think I'm being crazy. But truthfully and honestly, words mean things. We have to take the opportunity to make sure that as we shape our future, we do so using terms and using words that start the ball in the right direction, that start us staying focused on something that is important. Are you with me? Nod your heads. Okay. So, no more sober existence. We're all in agreement. Excellent. People, this is the weekend, which means that I will probably pop on tomorrow to do some of the captain's choice. I had planned on doing it today, and then some things got highwired. And because of that, we're going to put it off until tomorrow. But for those of you who are unaware of what that is, I will be highlighting some of the comments from the comments section. Since we started, believe it or not, we are into the 20,000 or so mark. It's hard to wrap your brain around. But we're in the ballpark of 20,000 comments that people have left. Some of them are too good to leave to rot in the sort of the history of the ship's log, right? This stuff needs to be brought to the to the center. Saigon Cinnamon, the day that he said to a gentleman that was trying to remain sober, look, whatever you do, never quit quitting. People, that will be part of the fabric of this boat forever. The first t-shirt that we have from the boat says on it, never quit quitting. If you have not seen this t-shirt, please get over to the Lifeboat Show. That is over on Facebook. People, don't tell me you hate Facebook. I hate Facebook. We're in agreement. Facebook is terrible. It's a cesspool. However, we are an oasis in that cesspool. What we are is we have a dock. It's a dry dock of sorts. It is a safe place to go and discuss issues and get support. And I'll tell you something, people, it's less than 4 days old and it's working. I stopped by there this morning only to find a gentleman saying, hey, I feel like I'm slipping. I feel like I'm getting closer to using, and here's why. And people went nuts, right? Everybody did exactly what they're supposed to do. Not because the captain showed up and said, hey, this is what you need to do, but because everybody who has chosen to be crew on this boat get it. Everybody who has chosen to be crew on the lifeboat, right? The people who have chosen to share in the lives of one another stepped up to the plate and did exactly what family and what crew do. They took care of making sure that this individual had someone to talk to. They made sure that somebody was there to say, hey, you know what? Really think about what you're getting ready to do. People, if you want to stay sober and you want to start living your best life, not your best existence, but your best life, if you really want to enjoy yourself, then the easiest pledge to ensure that you remain sober is to say this: before I call a drug dealer, before I drive to the liquor store, before I go to the casino to pull the slot machine lever, before I turn on some porn, before I do any of the things that for you is the dictator in your life, whatever the habit or the substance that is ruling your life, before you make that decision to say, I'm going to do this, commit today to say, but before I do, I'm going to go buy the boat. I'm going to stop by and I'm just going to tell somebody that I'm planning on doing it. Go ahead and use. That's what you want to do. Go ahead and use. But promise us that prior to that, you're going to stop by the boat and say to people, hey, this is what I'm planning on doing. If you make that commitment, people, you are going to remain happy. You are going to remain drug-free, alcohol-free, bad habit-free. Because if you come by and say, I'm thinking of going to see my dealer, you're not going to go see your dealer. The crew won't let it. And will never let it happen. The crew will come to your aid and they will start doing what family does, right? Family is going to say, hey, we're here for you. You don't want to do that. Seriously, think about what you're about to do. You don't want to do that. That is the last thing on the world that you want to do. And when that happens, phenomenal things will transpire. Number one, you're not going to go and make that mistake. But more importantly, what's going to happen is you're going to realize a couple of things. Number one, you have a tool in the toolbox that will keep you from using on days when it just wears you down. On days you feel like, I can't get through this. You're going to find out that the easiest tool to use is this, right? This was the dream, people. The dream was that not everyone in the world can get to a 12-step meeting every time they need one. Not everybody in the world is comfortable going to a 12-step meeting. There are people in this comment section that I promise you, if I said, all right, here, and I turned the camera around and said, tell us what's going on, they would be very, very uncomfortable to say, here's what it is I'm thinking of. But boy, behind a keyboard, we all have the ability to be a little bit more bold. If all we're doing is, look, there's no picture of us here, right? There's nothing there. You're not watching us, and you don't get that feeling like you're the center of attention, right? The person for whom something is going wrong and everyone is staring at you, right? It's not going to happen. There is something really unique about social media, and it can be the best of things, like us, or it can be the worst of things, because we feel emboldened because we feel like we can be more than whatever if we have one of these, right? Using a keyboard, people feel like they can be more of whatever. That whatever can be fantastic. They can be more loving. They can be more kind. There are people who have no problem in the comment section, a man saying to another man, hey, I love you. If you're having a bad time, I love you. If you need support, if you need help, anything you need, man, I love you. Try that in the real world. Seriously, see how far that goes. The gift of what we're doing here is the fact that we're making it. And really, I'll tell you what, my brother Johnny was the inspiration. What happened over at Chase the Heat, his gift to society was making it so that people did not feel odd saying, I love you. That's a huge thing. And it was one of the reasons that the lifeboat became virtual. The original plan, I promise you people, was never to do this like this. The original plan was to do this face-to-face, which was going to be a much smaller audience that could have been reached. But when I saw what Johnny had created in cyberspace, right, through social media, I started to believe what social media could be. It started to occur to me that when social media was created, they had very lofty goals. Believe me, people, when Facebook was put together, they were not planning on it becoming a cesspool. They really thought that Facebook and MySpace and Instagram and all of these different platforms and social media, they thought that what it would do was shrink the world and bring it together. It was going to level the playing field so that whether you were Harvard educated or whether you were somebody on the, in the most remote places on the planet, all you needed was one of these, right? All of the information in the world was going to be at your fingertips. You realize that the internet, in theory, has leveled the playing field for everybody. You want a Harvard education? Right here, babe. That's it. Boom. That's all it's going to take. Everything that someone at Harvard has the ability to look at, you got right here. You can educate yourself through the internet and through social media better than you can on any college campus on the planet. And what do we do with it? We watch people chew Tide Pods. Okay, the greatest laid plans of mice and men. What could have happened with social media ended up missing the mark. Not slightly, it missed the mark by 6.5 miles to the left. It didn't get anywhere near that target. However, we have the opportunity right here on the boat to change that. We do. We may even change it for the world, but that's lofty. I'll admit that. It's a very lofty goal. To change the course of social media, that's big. However, we're going to change the course of social media for the 25 people that are here right now or the 30 people that are here right now. We're changing it. Make no mistake. And we're using it, right, for maybe one of the most important things we possibly could. Drug addiction and addiction period in all of its forms is a debilitating affliction. And it is a debilitating affliction that is made more difficult in that in order to say to somebody, in order to really get help, you have to say, I'm addicted, right? I have no control over this and I need help. Okay, for a lot of people to say, I'm addicted and I need help, and to do this face to face is something that very few people, especially when you're suffering and in the middle of that addiction, that is a very difficult thing to do. Right? Under the best of circumstances, to say, hey, I could use some help is impossible. Under the worst of circumstances, it is daunting. But if we take this thing, right, and there's none of that, there's none of that interaction that makes it so difficult, we still can support one another in ways that work. We're watching it happen. Right? On the last live feed, wasn't the most upbeat live feed we've ever done, right? Because there was some stuff that I had to take care of. But boy, did the tenor of the entire thing change when a gentleman came on and said, hey, I'm 7 days sober, right? Everybody gets excited. We're celebrating the best of what this social media can do. And in setting this up the way that we have, and the way you people have, right? I just talk, but the way you people have set up the support system, people are comfortable not only saying, hey, I'm hurting and I need help, here's why, but there are people opening up to some really heavy stuff. If you go through and read the comment section, there are people that really are working through stuff that might be next to impossible for them to admit and to deal with if they had to do it face to face, right? So it's working. We are putting a dent into this war on drugs in this country, right? Last night we really talked extensively about the war on drugs, and I'm not going to rehash all of it because people don't want to hear this twice. But since that live feed is no longer up, there is a couple of things that probably need to be revisited. But the most important thing is this: if you're going to win the war on drugs, you win it one battle at a time. The way you win the war on drugs is by cutting down on the demand for drugs. How do you do that? Well, take one addict out of the scene. Take one drug user out of the equation. That's a battle, right? So that gentleman who comes on today and says, I am 7 days sober, regardless of what the chemical is, we put a hurt on the entire addiction process. That's one battle. That is one little battle. But people, if we keep beating this drum, and if we keep doing the right thing, we keep telling one another and that new partner is going to be YouTube. YouTube is then going to push this boat in places that we never would have got it, right? Once we become partners with them, they are going to push us and drive us and become the marketing arm, so to speak, for the lifeboat. And people, we've got some things going for us that are unique. Number one, we came out hot, right? And I'll take credit where credit is due. People say that I'm humble or whatever. No, I'm not. I'm just really super honest. So when there's some credit to be taken, I'll take it. And what I did wisely was I started to build this thing months and months before I launched it. As opposed to just starting to put up videos, I had a group of about 8,000 people that I had built on Instagram. And I spent a lot of time telling those people something's coming. There's going to be a channel. And when people said, oh, what's your channel going to be on? You'll see it. It's going to be on the last day of July. Because of that, I was able to open up with about 200 people, right? Those 200 people grew into about 600 really, really quickly. Then I ate some disgusting fish. And if you haven't seen that, people, you should watch it because it's one of the funniest things you'll ever see, especially from your end. If you had to be the person there chowing down that fish, I'm not sure that you would find it quite as amusing. But my brother promised me that if I filmed that video and I agreed to eat what is quite possibly the most disgusting taste that there has ever been assembled on the planet. If you people are not familiar with surströmming, it is a type of herring that I'm quite convinced is based on a dare. I don't think anyone actually eats this for any other reason than either to prove their manhood or for entertainment purposes. I think without challenges, they would stop manufacturing surströmming. But it is just awful. By eating that, we got over 1,000 people, and we got there in about 21 days, which people, that does something to our new partner, right, at YouTube. That does something. It tells them that we're up and coming. It really does. They're not analyzing how we got there. They're just seeing that we got there fast. From there, we've continued to grow. And the next thing that happens is that little device starts to look at how much interaction there is between the channel and its audience, right? That's not my doing, that's your doing. And there are many videos where I might get 200 views and have 250 comments. Let me tell you something, people, that does not happen anywhere else. I'm not being arrogant because I'm not the one leaving the messages, right? You people are the ones leaving the comments. But the fact that you have engaged the way you have tells our new partner something else. All of these things add up to say one thing, that when we throw that switch and we bring YouTube on as the new partner, they're going to push us a little harder than they push the next people because they believe that there's money in it. They believe that this is a product that's going to catch on. I don't know that they would be as enthused about what the goal is as we are, but it doesn't matter, right? It gets right back to that same thing of, there are people that say, well, I hate Facebook. Hate Facebook. Don't hate the software. What Facebook does is a cool thing. The problem is the people that get on there who really like to say, F-bombs and every other four-letter word in the world, or tell somebody that there is no God, or tell somebody any number of things. Crack jokes about things like rape and pedophilia. There's a lot of filth, right? But not in our harbor. People, we're using their tool for a great reason. So if you're someone who says, I gave up on Facebook years ago, go ahead and give up on Facebook. I don't care, but don't give up on this. Go and check out the group we've got, because the group we've got is doing rowdy stuff. I'm not playing. Go over there and check it out. Borrow someone's account and just go look at what is taking place. And keep in mind, it's 4 days old. Start thinking to yourself, where could this be in a year? Where could this be in 3 years? Jeff Winters. Jeff, good to see you. Appreciate you coming. People, you have to ask yourself, where is this going to be in 2 years or 3 years or 4 years? We are a baby. This boat is an infant, right? But if we keep doing the right things, it's not just going to grow into maturity. It's going to be a monster. And that monster's got a really, really great mission. People, you get it. I mean, I end up having these conversations because I get really excited about what I'm doing. And there are people on here. Alan Ballantyne. Alan, it's good to see you on a boat live. That is awesome. Coming in from Australia. Alan Ballantyne, my brother. There are people on here who haven't heard my rah-rah speech. You're going to hear it a lot. And it's not because I feel the need to fire you people up. It's because I can't stop talking about a dream come true. I don't have it in me. Right? This really is that important to me. Debbie Bartram, fantastic to see you. Glad you're here, Debbie. So, we have this new partnership that's about to happen. And I mean, people, it's about to happen. Obviously, we've been doing a lot of live feeds. The reason is multi-pronged. Number one, obviously, trying to get that 4,000 hours. Without apology, people say you sound desperate. You're darn right I'm desperate, right? As of right now, we're not reaching enough people. I'm happy that we're reaching the people we have. I'm happy that I am way ahead of where anyone else is. But everybody else is trying to entertain people. We're trying to save lives, right? So for me, it's a little bit more important. For you all, it's a little bit more important. We're trying to bring a message of love and respect and dignity to people that haven't got it. You want to talk about a marginalized group of people in this country? Addicts are hated. And for those of us that slipped to the absolute bottom rung of addiction, if by some chance you really hit rock bottom and you ended up incarcerated, nobody on the planet is more hated than the convict, right? I've said this before, people, but really think about it. If I picked any other group of people in this country, Brad Fox, good to see you. If I picked any other group of people in this country, in this world, and decided I was going to tell you jokes where the punchline is them getting raped, do you think people would laugh? Seriously, pick any other group. And I tell jokes about, wouldn't it be funny if that person got raped? You would go nuts. The whole world would go nuts. But when someone says, well, so-and-so got arrested and, they're sending him to prison. Well, I hope he gets a cellmate named Bubba who really is amorous, right? Don't drop the soap. All of these jokes. The people that they're cracking those jokes about, for the most part, aren't criminals. They're drug addicts. They may have committed crimes for the purpose of trying to get their drugs, but they're not criminals. They're drug addicts. People, and if you don't believe that, well, then you can think of me as a criminal, right? I went to prison, and I went more than once. It's hard for people. I get emails all the time that say, I have such a hard time picturing you as that guy. Well, because that guy very often isn't that guy. If you can separate the drugs from the addict, what you're left with is a completely new creation. Very often, I shouldn't say that. What you're left with is the potential for a new creation, right? That's really what you're left with. Virginia, I got your email and now they're working, so it's excellent to hear from you, and we'll be getting back to you as well. Again, Annette, good to see you. People, once you separate the chemical, this is one of the reasons that I do not want to hear the word sober existence. We all know people who are existing. What's up, right? There's no excitement in these people's lives. You've all seen them. What they are, right? The term used to be dry drunk. You remove the chemical out of a person's life. If they don't make any change other than that chemical, what you have is a miserable individual who is not high. And when you don't make those changes and you don't create new memories and new friends and new experiences, then what you have is somebody that thinks about the good old days when they were wasted. For real. You hear people say, boy, I loved drugs. I can't continue to do them. Okay, I don't know that that's particularly healthy. Obviously it's the truth. People didn't do these things because they didn't like drugs, right? But as Mark Wages said, and I think it was genius, you start to create new memories. And I promise you, people, what it's going to do is push out the other ones. How many times have you gone to a NA meeting or an AA meeting, and very shortly what you get is people who get up and tell you horror stories? It's really what all of those meetings are. You will notice, people, that it is very rare that I come on here and say, let me tell you about the time I did 4 ounces of heroin in 3 days. We had people over there partying and this and that. They tell those stories at the 12-step meetings, and then they get to the very end of it. They describe what sounds coming from their voice as the most fun they've ever had. And then they get to the end of that story and go, boy, I'm glad that's all behind me and that I'm sober now. This is never going to happen here on this channel. You understand? We've got some things coming up where Jack, you'll see his name in the comment section. Jack is back. Okay. Jack is one of the only friends I have from my past who is still my friend. I have eliminated all of those who are still alive, and there are very few of them. Jack, you'll hear this from Jack as well. Most of everyone we know is dead. Fentanyl has killed an awful lot of people. A lot of people are just simply gone, and that's sad, but it's the truth. But those who are still alive, I don't have those people in my life. They have chosen a path that until they're off that path, I am not having them around me. You know what I mean? They don't align with the new values that I have in my new life. Hopefully, hopefully they find their way, and hopefully they find their way to the boat. But when Jack comes on, Jack will tell you some horror stories. They will be viewed through the lens of the fact that I'm here, I'm sober. The reason that I want some of those stories to come out, we won't be glorifying them. We're not going to be sounding like these were the great old days. But I think it's important that people get an idea of what I was. If you look through the comment section, you can't go 5 comments without someone saying something really, really nice about me. And I appreciate that. I do. I mean, it makes me uncomfortable. It would make any of you uncomfortable too, I promise you. But the reason that it's something that, I don't know, for me is even stranger is because I really was on the opposite end of the spectrum. If you can imagine the boom, like the mind game of going from sitting in a prison cell, being hated by every single person around you. In prison, the dominating emotion, the dominating feeling, and the dominating, thread is hate. The guards hate the inmates hate the guards, right? The Sureños hate the Norteños, the blacks are hating the whites. They just organize this so that there is hate everywhere. To walk out of there and within a year and a half be somewhere where every day people are telling you that they love you and that, you're changing the world and you're doing a great thing. It's a difficult thing sometimes to wrap your head around. I would like you all to realize exactly where I was. I want people to look at this and say, boy, if the captain can do it, I can do it. If a guy that fell that far, right, can be a productive member of society, pay taxes, right, take care of himself, buy clothing and food. Sounds crazy, right? People, if you're a heroin addict, you're not shopping. You're stealing. I mean, people go into stores, but they're not going in there to shop. All of the things that we take for granted on a daily basis as a human being, the addict has given all of that up. You understand? So we are going to be doing a lot of stuff with Jack. He's going to be coming down to film some videos because I really do think it's important for you to get an idea of how far I fell. And people, if I do this for the next 10 years, it might be a good thing if everybody sort of has an appreciation for getting their questions answered and just knowing exactly who it is that captains this ship. Okay, sorry, I was just reading some of the comments. I am going to be doing some questions, people. We're going to open this up for some questions. What I do want to make sure is we're positive. Today is fun, right? I think even on yesterday's feed, there was probably a bit of a somber, notes, a bit of a somber thing going on. For those of you who didn't catch it, but just heard people talk about it, I did discuss the legalization of drugs for pretty much the entire time. And the fact that it's down now is a bummer because I've already had people say to me, I can't believe you're advocating legal drugs. If you didn't hear my stance, people, then you probably shouldn't say, I can't believe you're advocating anything. If you didn't hear the things that I was saying, it's fairly bold to say, why were you saying that drugs ought to be legalized? I wasn't. What I did was I pointed out both sides of the argument. I did not take a stance. I pointed out both sides of the arguments. And the reason that I did is because the time is coming where this country and many others are going to be voting whether or not to legalize drugs across the board. I'm not playing with you. It may sound crazy, but it is coming. So for that reason, I want everybody to start thinking about it because when that time comes, it's funny in the society we live in, laws get passed and people go, boy, I can't believe that happened. They are so stupid that they did that. How dumb is that? And if you say to them, did you call your congressman or your senator and say to him, hey, whatever you do, don't vote for this? Well, no, but people, we are in a representative government, right? So if you don't tell people exactly what it is you think, you really don't have a right to complain about it. I'm sorry. You don't, right? Just because your opinion goes against, well, then get action. Take action. Everything in life needs to be based on taking action, right? You want to get sober? You don't take the 12 steps and go like this and just like Karnak and expect it to get absorbed into you and for you to instantly become sober. Sobriety, like anything else, they're all verbs. They're action words. Sobriety is not, it is the act of, right? Not using. It is everything we do, people, is the act of, right? It is taking action in order to remain sober. The cool thing is that once that process starts, all of this can be fun. I swear to God it can. I'm having more fun right now than I ever had doing drugs. That is the truth. It's not a cliche. Now, there are cliches. I'm not going to sit here and tell you I hated every single thing about my past life. I hated the bad parts. There were times that I had ridiculous fun. However, anytime you start to look back, right, the longer you get away from anything, the easier it is to forget the bad and glorify just the good. And when you sit and talk about the past experiences as the good old days, right? Oh man, we had this huge bag of... I honestly, if people ever bring up stuff from the past where I talk about it, one of the things that I make sure that I do, before and after any story, is to say, God, it wasn't worth it, right? It wasn't worth it. The life that I lived, the things that it cost me, right, have just been staggering. People, it cost me 2 families, right? 2 marriages. I have destroyed 2 really decent marriages. I didn't marry the wrong woman twice. I didn't. I married the right woman twice. But I was a dirtbag. Because of the substances that I was addicted to, I did things that are unforgivable in the eyes of most people. For real. Now, because I don't often get into the nuts and bolts details of how I destroyed my marriages, and the reason I don't, people, is because neither of the women that I was married to deserve to have to hear anything from our past drudged up for the world to see. I hope that makes sense. I don't mind talking about the things that I did. I am not going to put either of my marriages on display because, Lord, they had to be married to me. They shouldn't have to relive any of that. What I can tell you is this, that for the most part, they're 2 really great women. And, you know, that you may not believe this, but I pray for both of them every day. And I really hope that both of them are, you know, happy in everything that they do going forward. I hope that they have happiness because they absolutely deserve it. But my lifestyle destroyed 2 marriages. In both instances, if I had never been doing the things that I was doing, I would still be married. I have come to the conclusion that I probably will ride it out this way, you know, as far as the single thing. And the reason is pretty simple for me, because if I were with somebody today, if I tried to build a relationship where I'm at today in life, it wouldn't be heroin that would be destroying the relationship. It would be this. Because I promise you, people, this is more important to me than anything. I may be bad, right? That truthfully, right? It goes God, the boat, right? That really is, you know, God, family. But I got a really big family. So keeping this in mind and hearing this, if you ever find yourself going, you know, you really need to take a little more time for yourself, or you don't need to film yourself while you're sick. I don't need to do anything, people. Believe that. Listen carefully, because this is an important thing. Those people who know me well know this is my biggest pet peeve. The phrase, well, you don't have to do that, drives me insane. And the reason is, I spent years living in a situation where I had to, right? I went to the bathroom when I was told. I slept when I was told. I had to turn the lights on or off when I was told. I was told when to eat. You follow? This was a way that I was forced to live because of actions I took. They didn't come and get me out of a church and bring me to prison. You know, what I did to put me there. However, while I was there every day, I said to myself, when I get out, no one is ever going to tell me what to do ever again. The things that I do for the rest of my life, I will do because I want to. Plain and simple. So if I reach out and I help or I do anything else and you say to me, boy, you don't have to do that. I know I don't have to do that. I don't have to film when I'm sick, right? I don't have to do that. Uh-oh. I just saw Mark Wages. Mark, it is excellent to see you, my brother. I hope you're feeling better. I hope that fever's down. People, we can keep Mark in our thoughts and prayers. He has been having some problems with his throat, and his temperature was high. And those of us know that because of the C11 plus 8, we all get a little bit jumpy when someone starts to have, those two particular symptoms point toward nothing good. However, my brother assures me that it is nothing but strep throat. Nevertheless, thoughts and prayers, thoughts and prayers, thoughts and prayers. And it is good to see you, Mark. I'm glad you're here. People, I am still working on getting the interview that I did with Mark over here so that you all can see it, and it will be up here. But I'll tell you something. If you did not see that interview, I honestly feel bad for you. That interview was phenomenal. And one of the real dead giveaways of how good that interview was? Last night, I don't remember what time it was, people. I'm horrible at that. For a guy that's so into watches, I'm terrible at telling you what time something happened. But it was late. Mark went late last night, but he went live because there were some things happening out in space that he wanted to relay to us. Fascinating stuff, by the way, for real. And I went on to the live feed because I wanted to watch it. And the funniest thing happened. There was a lot of crew from the lifeboat that was over there. I mean, a lot. And I thought to myself, that's awesome. Because I'll be really honest with you, people. They're not over there supporting Mark. No offense. They love Mark. But that's not why it was. Having a chance to hear the man speak, I think they realized that the way Mark conveys things is unique. And it really lends itself to education. If you listen to the interview I did with him, when there's something unique about Mark, that when you're done listening to him, you retain a ton of what he said. I was talking to people after the fact they were recalling the things that he said as if they had been taking notes. That is a rare thing. It really is. It's the reason he's got, 60,000 people who follow him. When you have the ability to speak and people retain what you say, that is a God-given gift. It really is. And he's got it in spades. So if you haven't gone over there and checked it out, it's a fascinating channel. It was a lot of fun last night. And it was just great to watch all these names pop up. I know everybody. The crew is coming in thick. So people, to reiterate all of the things that I've been hammering home, we want to be happy people, right? We want to be people focused on a new life, but we want to do it with some smiles. Here's one of the other things, and there is a common thread we all seem to agree on. We would like this boat to reach more people. Yes? Okay. Right. We would like the message, which is pretty cut and dry. Addicts are people too, and they shouldn't be hated simply because they had an addiction to a substance or to a habit. Shouldn't be hated for that. We all agree with that. And there needs to be a place without judgment to support these people. Because support doesn't work if you toss in even that much judgment. You can look down your nose at somebody like they're a dirtbag and go, hey man, I'm here for you. Drunk. It's not going to work, right? No matter how much you want to support a person, the key to support is compassion. And you can't fake compassion. You can't. It's either there or it's not. But it's here. And that's why the people who find this boat, I get every time somebody finds it new. Every time I get an email of people who say, I cannot believe that there's a group of people out here like this. You know what my response to them is every time? Boy, me either. Truthfully. Someday, folks, I hope to be able to bust out the notebooks and show you, because I had goals. I had the stuff written down. Jerry Armitage, good to see you. I had goals written down of how long I thought it would take to hit certain milestones. And honestly, people, I knew I was going to be launching on the last day of July, and I was hoping that by June the following year, that people would begin to take ownership of the channel, that people would begin to be as large of a part of educating and helping people as I was trying to do from in front of the camera. People, it took about 14 days. And that's not me. I didn't come up and say, here's what you need to do. I came up and started telling the story of my life. I didn't even get to any of the nuts and bolts stuff of the boat. Before I did, there were people in the comment section, hey, if you ever need someone to talk to. I remember emailing the 3 or 4 core people, that I had been talking to prior to doing this, going, you're not going to believe this. Go read the comments in the comment section, right? It's happening. It really is. It's happening. And people, I can't tell you the humbling experience that to be the guy in front of the camera and watch everything that's going on. It takes my breath away. It really does. You people have inspired me in ways that I don't even know how to explain. I really don't. But I just pray that we all stay on the same page. We all believe wholeheartedly in the mission. That's the point I was getting at. You all believe in the mission. So, my question is this. If you're living a sober existence, and you're existing, and this is how you walk through life, right? And you get sober, and this is the excitement level that you bring is somewhere in here. How many people do you think look at you and go, I want what that guy has? You understand what I'm saying? If we're trying to bring the message to the people, take that same thing and go, hey, right? Start living as if you're happy. We talked about physiology last night. I got a whole video of it, people. I've already shot it. I just haven't put it up. But the physiology of sobriety is massive. It really is. Because when you're an addict, especially one that hits rock bottom, you have beat yourself viciously. In doing so, society jumps on the bandwagon and beats you as well. So you end up beat down. You look like an animal that's been whipped. You watch a guy walk into a rehabilitation center. You know who really talked about this? I did an interview with the Grizzly Cub. That would be Rhett Griffith's daughter. And she works in this industry. She's a recovering addict. And she works in the rehabilitation industry. And she sees people coming in when they need detox. Right? She sees people coming in who, their last fix was a few hours ago. Like they're just now getting into the withdrawal and the slide as they start to go down. And she'll tell you, they're a shell of a human being. The shoulders roll forward, right? The head starts coming down. They don't want to make eye contact with you, so they tend to look at the ground. And I went over this last night, but for those of you who weren't here, you shrink your torso. You understand? This cavity that houses all of the important stuff in your body. Really important stuff, by the way. Right? You got heart, you got lungs, you got all kinds of very cool stuff in there. So when this shrinks, you're not getting big lungfuls of air. You think I'm kidding? Later on, do this, right? And start taking a deep breath. Tell me how that works out for you. You're not going to take a deep breath, quite simply because it's not possible. You straighten yourself out. You start walking with better posture. Make eye contact. The thing with making eye contact is you pretty much have to bring your head up, right? You're not making eye contact with your chin on your chest. Right. Now, roll your shoulders back a little bit and punch your chest out. Just shows pride, right? No. It does so much more than that. It opens up this entire area. We remember enough from school to remember how the diaphragm works, right? They probably did a little thing where they took a balloon and showed you that when you pulled the pressure down, the balloon, right? Well, that's what the diaphragm does. It pulls down and it inflates your lungs, right? Now, people, inside your lungs, there's air. We're all in agreement? Nod with me. Okay. That air doesn't ever completely leave your lungs. If it did, the walls of your lungs would stick together. You know what we call that? A collapsed lung. Okay. They don't like coming back apart. It's sticky in there. It's not dry like your skin. It's moist. Those little sacs, alveoli, right? There's moisture on all of those things. They stick together, we're in deep trouble. So, to prevent that from happening, we keep what is called a tidal volume of air in our lungs at all times. When you are hunched over like this and you don't take in deep breaths, that tidal volume of air never gets exchanged for new air, right? So it becomes stale. I had somebody correct me last night because I said, look, nothing stale is good. And I won't put the person on blast, but someone said, no, you're wrong. You know what is excellent stale? Is marshmallows. Seriously, people. Like a marshmallow is better stale than it is when it's soft and gooey and ready to be roasted. That's just awful. I don't know where that comes from. But that stale air has to get out. So when you stand up and you start taking deep breaths in, they refer to that kind of breathing as ACC, right? ACC, because you start down with the abdomen, then you get into the chest cavity. If you look at the lungs inside the chest cavity, right up here in the top, believe it or not, those lungs come all the way underneath your collarbone, right? That would be clavicular. So you have abdomen, chest, clavicular, ACC. Well, when you breathe in that deep, when you breathe back out, you're actually trading out that stale air for new air. That's good. Really excellent things start to happen. And all of these things become self-fulfilling prophecies where you actually start to get a snowball effect. And what I mean by that is you start doing this, you start getting air deeper into your lungs, you start talking a little bit louder. You start talking a little bit faster. You don't have to be me, people. I realize I talk too loud. It's a public speaking thing that once you start doing, it's difficult to stop. All right, I know that. I also talk too fast, right? But when you talk a little bit too loud and you talk a little bit too fast, you know what happens? You're forced to take in big lungfuls of air. It's the truth, right? You have to breathe deep in order to talk like that. It also does something else. It makes it so that you can't be bored. I'm serious. Don't believe me? Try it. Try talking two different ways. Try talking like this, even if you're talking about tax returns. It's hard not to be excited about it because the brain, which doesn't always communicate with the rest of the body the way it's supposed to, right? I mean, it knows what's going on. Your brain's going, hey, something good's going on, right? He's breathing deep. He's talking fast. Something cool's happening. Well, when that happens, good things happen. The brain will start releasing chemicals at the right time, not the wrong time, right? And the people around you will actually want to listen to you. Because if you go like this, I'm Tommy, welcome to the channel, bottom line is, the more bored you are, you're not going to get anybody's attention. Now, if you start being a little bit more animated and you start being excited, people are actually going to pay attention to you. When they do, and people listen to everything you say, what happens is that people listen to you. They listen, they respect. When you start feeling respect, you puff your chest out a little bit further, right? You stand up a little straighter, and the next thing you know, you get this snowball effect. Now you're feeling better about yourself. You are getting more excited, right? All of these things are good things, and they will start to create a life worth living. Think I'm wrong? You really need to check it out. Oh, people, do you know I saw the word drama? Like, I look for 2 seconds, and I see the word, now I have to check. What is drama? Let's see here. Oh, yeah, no. Okay. Apparently someone thinks that I create drama for views. Let me explain something, just for everybody. I don't do clickbait, right? I don't do clickbait, and I don't do drama. And the people on the boat will probably end up rallying to my defense because they tend to be a pretty decent crew. But if you've been here long enough, and many of you have, you know that there are channels out there, literally at this point, that do nothing except talk about this channel. It is their product at this point, to just bag on me. At no point have I ever made a video answering them or firing back. I don't do drama. And it's one of the things that you're going to find. I don't do drama. Now, for views, I will eat foul fish. But I will not create drama for views. I will not do anything that threatens my crew. This is not a channel that's here for entertainment. It's not. And the longer you stick around, the more you're going to realize some certain things. For instance, my brother's famous, right? And my brother is famous for eating really hot things. And it's a skill that I happen to possess, right? So there is this League of Fire, and they sort of rate things like, sort of like you would have ratings for any other sport based on how much hot stuff people eat. And they have a category for how fast somebody can take down something called a tube of terror, which, by the way, is a Scoville product. Okay, I own the world record for the fastest tube of terror ever consumed. All I had to do after that long buildup over on Instagram that I was talking about was to launch a channel where I ate peppers. And I would have had 10,000 followers and as many views as I could handle, and I would have had it in 2 weeks. I don't know who exactly put up the drama, who thought I might do this to create views. If I wanted views, my friend, I would be eating peppers, and I would have had a ready-made group of people to watch what it is that I'm doing. However, I'm a convicted bank robber and a gun runner, and I was a heroin addict for decades, and I destroyed my life, and I destroyed the lives of untold numbers of people. So, I decided that I was going to leave the earth a better place than I found it. and I was going to do everything within my power to ensure that nobody fell into the hole that I fell into. In doing so, I started to put together a game plan, and that game plan eventually morphed its way into social media, and I am really happy that it has. There are people on this channel who have gotten sober because of what we're doing here. I'm not here for views, bro. I'm not. That's the bottom line. And if you don't believe that, I don't blame you. The rest of the internet is full of people who do nothing but try to create views, and they'll do anything to do that. I'm here to save 6 people. If you don't understand what that means, I got a ton of videos you can watch where I explain it. But my goal is just to get 6 people and get them sober. I already got it. So then I decided to do 6 more. But you have my word. I won't use drama for the purpose of creating views. Very fortunately, I'm 55 days old as a channel today. In that 55 days, we've gotten more than 30,000 views. We have done more than 3,000 of our 4,000 hours, and we're closing in on 1,500 followers. I don't really need to do anything at this point to create anything. Oh no. I think somebody, Derek N. He says, man, I am feeling like crap, brother. I don't know if I have the big C word, but I literally feel like I am withdrawing. Brother, if you feel like you're going through withdrawal, that is exactly what the C11 plus 8 felt like to me. Exactly was withdrawal sickness. I've said it to anyone who will listen. If you are a recovering opiate addict and you feel like you're in withdrawal, get a test. They sell them at Walgreens and at Walmart. They've got them that, according to the paperwork inside, there are 98% accurate. Yeah, you're 2 years sober off of opiates. This is definitely, if that's what you're feeling like, brother, you need to take a test for this. And they say they're 98 to 99% accurate, right? They come 2 to a box. Do both of them. That's the best way to do it. Take a test. If you fail, give it 12 hours, 13 hours, whatever. Take the next one. But if you have this, it's important to stay away from people. It's also important to start taking a ton of fluids. You can go back and watch the C13 plus 6 diaries, because it's really kind of astounding what you're doing. I mean, what you're going to go through. It really is ugly. So don't take this lightly, honestly, because every person is affected differently, and this thing can take you off the planet. Get an oxygen sensor. Start monitoring how much your oxygen. Oh no, Greg F just said, believe me, Tommy, you are helping people, including me. Greg, thank you so much. Thank you so much. There are going to be people, man. Folks, the slings and arrows are going to get worse. You know that, right? I wasn't reading the comments. Whoever said I may have done this for, drama for views, may have been joking. I don't know. You know how I read this. I can't do it fast enough. So if I'm chiming in on something that was a joke, I apologize, But anyway, if it was something that's serious, it's going to get uglier, people. It is. We're doing the right thing. When you do the right thing, there are people that just straight can't stand that. So the slings and arrows are coming. But every time somebody says something like, you're helping me, Derek, the test is $26 in the state of Nevada. That's what I paid for it here. So that's the ballpark. I'm not sure what it's going to be where you're at. By the way, that was 2 tests in there for $26. So it's not particularly expensive, especially when you consider what it is that you're doing. So yeah, get it. I mean, that's essential. But people, when someone like Greg F says, you're helping. Kid, hey, how are you? Just 1 second, I'm sorry. You know what I'm doing? I'm on a live feed. I'm on a live feed talking to the entire world. This isn't one of those that I can sort of edit out, but I had to call and pick up the phone and make sure there's nothing going on that's wrong. Are you okay? Oh, congratulations. All right. They did know that. It's my daughter, everybody. Okay, call me when you get home and we'll celebrate that. All right, I love you, babe. No, thank the Lord, no. I will talk to you when you get home. All right, bye-bye. I'm sorry, people. Here's the deal. I say here's the deal a lot, don't I? I do. Okay, but here's the thing. Just in case that was something that was going on that really needed to be addressed, I got to take that call, you know what I mean? But my daughter was actually celebrating. My daughter at the school she's at, she's a senior, and she came up with this program that she's pioneered to bring together groups of people that don't get along. I'm dead serious, right? There are these little like factions. So when you have drama club, or you have this club, or you have that club, she put together this club that brings together all of these groups that don't get along, and tries to bring this in so where people just celebrate the fact that in spite of the fact that they disagree, they can all get along. And when she told me about it, I said, "Oh man, I'm so proud of you. I think that's a huge thing." And she said, if 5 or 6 people show up, and I'm going to be honest with you people, I'm thinking back to my days in high school, and I thought, oh man, she's not going to get 5 or 6 people. So I said, look, if 2 people show up, if there's anybody out there that listens to what you're saying, then you did great. They got 56 people that are doing this. They went from, she no longer can pull it off in a classroom. So she was just calling to tell me that she got the lecture hall. They're going to let her do this. And what's just as cool too is she's standing up in front of a group of people and talking, which is forcing her 4 miles out of her comfort zone. But that's a good thing, you know what I mean? So I'm really excited about that. I'm sorry, people, I had to take that call. But what I was saying, back to what we were talking about, is the slings and arrows are coming, people. They are. There are going to be people that say a lot of really rotten stuff. And we just need to... Ocular Mortis says, please keep us updated. If we're talking about the person who is feeling ill and under the weather, you better keep us updated. Please. It's important to us anytime. People, this is something I'm so glad that this just came up. So often, somebody comes into the comments section and asks for help and asks for prayers and asks for whatever, and then we don't hear from you, or we don't get any kind of updates. When you're taking the time to really put positive energy out there, or pray, or phone, or email, and then you don't hear anything, it's devastating. It really is. Also along those same lines, I would love to see, who came up with who's got I see emojis that are anchors. Flamin' Jackson, I don't have that emoji. It's not all about. I want those. People, we get away for everybody here. Reach out and get somebody who knows your phone number. There are some people right now that are kind of MIA, and there's no way for us to reach out and find out where these people are. And I promise you, that's distressing. I mailed a snail mail letter to somebody because I've got an address, but I've got no way of contacting them any other way, and they're not answering email or anything else. And when's the last time you mailed a letter, right? But it would be great if there was some way we could get a hold of you. We really are doing this fam thing, right? Everybody feeling this? Because I am absolutely feeling it. Derek N. Also, I need to stop vaping. Oh boy. And he wants to get off the subs. He's been on them for over 3 years. Well, a lot longer, but it's been going to the doc for 3 years. Here's the deal with the subs, Brad. You can. That's a decision you got to make for yourself. And I would not interject. I will just tell you this. It is really, by design, not something they want you off in 3 years. Seriously. From what the people that designed this as a cessation type of a situation, they want you to have 5 years of you living your life without any of what we're used to as drug addicts before you start to phase off. You don't have to do that, but that really was the design for what they call DAT, right? Which is yep, that's what it is. Drug assisted therapy, DAT. If you're an opiate addict and you're doing DAT, they want 5 years of Suboxone. So 3 may sound like a long time to you, but from a sobriety standpoint, don't beat yourself up for that. However, if you think you're getting the C14 plus 5 and you're vaping, I promise you that is a very bad idea. Very bad idea. Does anybody remember how long ago it was when we did the... See, now Raven's showing. Everybody's got the cool anchor but me. What's this going on? Anybody remember how long ago it was that I did the challenge to, let's talk about something that we need to get out of our lives? I don't remember how long ago that video was, but it can't be more than 2 months because we're not 2 months old. But vaping was something that I did. Vaping was something that I did, and I did a lot of it. I was miserable. I don't know if you guys remember the videos when I see Wolf. Every single person here, I'm about to just hang up on you people. Why am I the only one that doesn't have an anchor in my emojis? That is just awful. That is just awful. Okay, anyway, so people, yeah, you got to stop with the vape. You really got to stop with the vape. It's don't get me wrong. You're way better off vaping than you were smoking. However, that being said, and I'm not saying this as a lifestyle thing, but if you believe that there's any chance you've got, the problem with that epidemic is that we've lost sight of this because it's been, a year now since it was really bad. It's a respiratory illness, right? There's no two ways about it. It's a respiratory illness. So you better take care of your lungs, brother, right? If you're going through that, do what you can to stop vaping because it's very serious. It really is. And Flamey Jackson says, we're proud of your daughter. Thank you, man. I am too. I can't tell you. And people, I try to shield the kids, not from you guys, right, but from the weirdos, because the people who hate me, and there are plenty of them already, the people who hate me would be more than happy to take shots at my kids or, just be cruel. So and this is like the same with the ex-wives. There are people, I chose to do this, right? I have chosen to go and just let every aspect of my life, every aspect of my life is open to people. And that's cool. It's a decision I made, but I don't want to make that decision for people that didn't do it. You know what I mean? You'll notice that I'm never asking Ma Scoville to get on a camera. My family has been very, very supportive of what I do. And this is not an easy thing to support. It really isn't. Because you've got, you have individuals that, see that? Now Cinnamon, Saigon Cinnamon has a trident. Thinks he's Poseidon. Not having this, people. I feel like I got to sort of guard some aspects of my life because those people just didn't make that decision, and there really are some vicious elements to the net. And when you make a decision to do what I'm doing, I take a lot of time away from anything else to do what I'm doing here. This is the demand to run a channel. If you're gonna, again, if you're just being silly and you're doing things that are not necessarily like a mission in life, then it's probably not that big of a situation. But what I'm doing here is so important to me that, I dedicate a tremendous amount of time, and I'm not bragging, and I'm not saying, whoa, feel sorry for me. I'm just trying to explain, as with the whole family thing. My family's been very understanding because of the amount of time that I put into this. And it requires a little bit of cash. You know what I mean? I'm buying equipment and doing things like that, and they've all just been super supportive. This is my birth family. My other family, obviously, has been supportive. But the family that I came by birth have really been super supportive of all of this. I'm just making sure I'm good here, because I'm going to be doing some question and answer for real here shortly. Yeah. All right, people, a little bit of patience with me, and I am done. Now, hopefully my call screener is actually watching. We're going to find out in a couple of minutes, though, if I get a response. I have, people, this is back to the C. What are we at? Have I covered all of them? C12 plus 7? Okay. Obviously, I no longer have it. That is a beautiful thing. It does mean that I'm going to be going back to work. I would imagine Monday. I'm going to talk tomorrow to the powers that be, and but I would imagine that Monday is going to be my first day back, which means that the live feeds are probably going to be, definitely cutting down. They're not going to come to an end. I still want to work in as many live feeds as I can because they're a super important part of what we're doing. I believe that going live has probably done more for this channel than anything else has up to this point. Going live and Mark have really been a shot in the arm to this channel, and of course Johnny Scoville really helped me a lot in the beginning. But going live has enabled you people in the the crew to really start to get to know one another. So one of the things that I'm going to be doing when I go back to work is I will be launching the videos that I do during the week, regular videos. I'm going to be doing, as premieres. So what that means is the comment section will be just like this. Even though you're watching one of my regular videos, the comment section will be very much like this. I will do that only on the longer videos. There's a couple that I've already got in the can that are in the 30-minute range. So it'll give you time to at least come together. Hey, how you doing? Blah, blah, blah. The other places you can do that, people, certainly the over at Instagram and at Facebook. It is called The Lifeboat Show. There's a group on Facebook, The Lifeboat Show. It's a group. And over at Instagram, it's just the Instagram page for The Lifeboat Show. The reason that the Instagram one is important, Instagram isn't the hangout, obviously, that it doesn't lend itself to the same kind of social networking that Facebook does. But they have a great going live video feature where I can go live like this, and I get 1 hour, right? All I got to do is hit. It's so much easier than it is to do it here on YouTube, especially. It's the same if I'm just doing this. But if I want to do an interview with somebody, it requires no software, no nothing. And I can do it for up to 4 or 5 people. It's just a matter of hitting record and then inviting in as many people as I want. And it's still got the same kind of comment section. I will be using that from time to time as the platform to record some of the interviews that I'm going to be doing. And of course, I will then post them over here. See, I just saw James. James, good to see you, James Patrick. But when I saw James, I thought maybe that was James J. We're all just so concerned about James J. And James Patrick said, Johnny Scoville, who's that? Honestly, he's just this guy, but he's been helpful. He has been helpful. Been a good guy, especially right in the beginning. He did an awful lot to really kind of get things going for us. He was right in the beginning. He could not have been more supportive, and he still is. I mean, he absolutely still is. However, he's also in the process of running this kind of small channel he's got over there with a silver button and a whole bunch of subscribers as well. But he stops in almost on every live feed. You'll see him in the comment section. Johnny will come in just long enough to go, "What? I still don't have a wrench?" And then he leaves. So there's that. People, by the way, if I didn't give you a wrench, if by some chance you did not get the moderator's wrench, there are some people that, I don't know, sort of took that as, some kind of an insult, or they felt like it was a slight of some kind. People, if I didn't get you the wrench, it's simply because I don't like you. I'm kidding. People, truthfully, what it came down to was I was doing the first live feed, and I had to get up and running in seconds. And if you've ever run a channel, they don't make it easy. It's not like you have the whole list of people there and you go, you. You got to take them one at a time. You got to do a cut and paste and bring it over there. It's an awful setup. It really is one of the worst things ever. And I went with names of people that I knew had done it before. On other channels that I knew had been successful, and I grabbed a lot from Wages World because Mark's moderators are the best in the game. I'm sorry, they're the best in the game. And the first one that I put up there was Hunter Haas, because Hunter has done this for some of the biggest channels you're going to come across on YouTube. He's done it for guys that have got millions of subscribers and done it very successfully. So, but I would love to be able to give it to even more people. I'm still figuring out what I'm doing, people. If you had any idea how bad I am at this, honestly, I'm not being funny. There are people who really have a handle on the fact that I'm not very good at this. The people that work with me closely, there are things I know I'm all right at. There are things that I've got some skills at. And there are some things that I'm really, really bad at. And all of the nuts and bolts stuff having to do with back office stuff for YouTube, I'm awful at. But obviously I'm kidding, people. If I didn't give you the wrench, it's just simply one of those situations. I love everybody here. Everybody, you know. We're all in this boat together, you know. We all really... We are all in the same boat together. I'm sorry. My call screener finally showed up, and apparently I'm staring at this too much. It really is a problem. I tend to I disconnect between here and here. You know, this morning on the live feed, Chi-Chi said, "You really got to make it so that you can talk and read at the same time." People, there are times I have a difficult time walking and chewing gum at the same time. So with my old and aging eyes, to try to pull off both. So if I'm going to lose one, I promise you I'm going to lose the comment things, and I'm going to do everything I can to try to stay a little bit more engaged, because I think that that's probably the best case scenario for, you know, if I've got to give up on one or the other, that most assuredly is the one that I'm going to give up on. Does that make sense? I hope so. Is everybody nodding? So at this point, people, look, if there's been a question at some point that hasn't gotten answered, I think it's probably a pretty good time to start going with the, you know, asking of questions and giving of answers. It, you know, this format really lends itself to question and answer. And I would encourage anybody that has ever wanted to ask the good captain a question to do so now, so that I can get these things answered. Again, I don't know how long we're going to be able to be doing these. We're not going to be able to be doing these live feeds as often as we are, especially coming up here within the next, say, 3 or 4 days. I'm going to be going back to working. Are you ready? 12-hour days. For those of you who don't remember, I was literally pulling 5 12-hour days a week, right? So my 60-hour-a-week job is coming back, and it's coming back soon. So what we want to do is, you know, take advantage of these live feeds while we can. Not only do they help because you people get to spend time getting to know one another, which is huge, but just as importantly, we really... I just got a question that's awesome. But it really gets us closer to that 4,000 hours, people. We're getting close. We are so close. So cool. Okay. I have a question from Mr. Alan Ballantyne, who I'm a big fan of, by the way. Alan Ballantyne says, Tommy, does depression often come with the journey of sobriety? Alan, it almost never doesn't come with the journey of sobriety. Depression goes hand in hand with getting sober. Here's why. Everybody goes through a honeymoon period in everything in life, right? But certainly in sobriety. The reason things are always called a honeymoon period is because it gets right back to the whole getting married thing, right? For those of you who have been married, when you marry somebody, life is perfect until reality settles in. And I'm not saying it then gets bad, it just gets real. Right? You go from the fairy tale of, oh my goodness, I can't believe we're together and everything is just great, to, yeah, there still are bills and there's jobs and there's work and, you know, in-laws and all of the things that you have to, you know, to deal with. All of that becomes real. So the same thing happens when you get sober. There is this period of, I can't believe it, like I'm doing this. And you start instantly feeling better because you feel better about yourself. And depending on what your drug of choice is, you know, there's a health aspect to it, there's a mental, there's a spiritual. All of these things happen. When that wears off, it's not like the honeymoon in real life. It's way worse. And the reason is, when that wears off, 2 things happen. Number 1, you start to feel a normal little depression because the letdown is there. The second thing is, you can't call your best friend and tell him because your best friend was the drug that you just quit. Does this make sense? For real, people. If you've been addicted to drugs for any length of time, then what happens is, when the time comes to quit, you are literally saying goodbye to your best friend. So the first time that depression starts creeping in as a sober person, you want to call up your best friend, right? So give your best friend a call, right? those days are over. You can't run back to what has been your helper for the longest period of time. So you get the depression of the depression, and then you get this mourning the loss of a good friend. And it all happens at once. The thing is, it is completely normal to become depressed after you get sober. But I'm not a doctor, people. I'm going to stress this all the time. I'm not a doctor, right? I'm a recovering drug addict. So I will say this. Depression is a normal part of everybody's life. We were actually designed to get depressed. And then you get sad and you get depressed and you go through it. But if you stay depressed, that's not normal, right? If your depression lasts for a long period of time and you can't get out of bed, then you seek medical care. Oftentimes, if you spent too much time drinking or drugging and you upset the chemical balance in the brain, you may need some medication, something like an SSRI. And I know people are going to jump on and go, SSRIs are awful. You know what, people? Everyone's got an opinion. I don't recommend any drug you don't have to take. Plain and simple. If you don't have to take a drug, you shouldn't take a drug. However, there are drugs that will absolutely help. There are drugs that are going to help individuals stay sober. And there are drugs that are going to help people with depression. And SSRIs for some people are the answer to prayer. There are some people that don't need them who take them, and that becomes an issue. But selective serotonin reuptake inhibitors mess with the chemicals in the brain. And for some people, it brings them out of, soul-crushing depression and brings them into the realm where they can live a happy life. Now, Alan, depending on how long the depression lasts, you can make that decision. But one of the things that I will tell you is, for me, when depression starts coming on in my life, this is always something I'm neglecting, right? My physiology. And you don't have to become, the workout king, but you have to start doing something with physical activity to get yourself I find for me that if I start walking, if I start doing anything today, I was struggling. And today I went for a long walk. And it's the first time since the C10 plus 9 started to kick in that I was able to go outside. I popped in some earbuds. I put on some easy listening. And I went for a really long walk. And just that act, seriously rewired my brain. It's we've gone over this many times, right? But it is very difficult, nigh impossible, for two things to occupy one space at the same time, right? It's the same way in the brain. You're not going to have two thoughts that occupy the same place in the brain. When depression is kicking in, for me and for a lot of people, there are thoughts in your head that just aren't necessarily healthy. Replace them, right? Get them out of your head. You can start thinking positive thoughts. For me, if I'm sitting around and trying to force a positive, I'm better off just going outside and getting a walk and looking at nature, right? And as I start seeing all these things and thinking about taking it all in, I have a very difficult time remaining depressed. That works really well for me. Ben Genetic said, today sucked for me because I felt worthless. My friend, I've been there. I have been there. Everybody who has been an addict in their life has spent tons of time feeling worthless. It is something that we're going to feel. And one of the reasons is society thinks you are. And they have been telling you are, whether you're listening to it like this or you just hear it in conversation or anything else. The general consensus of society is that if you were addicted to something, if you're still in the life, if you're fighting to get out of life, man, that dude's worthless. You hear him literally say it word for word. I'm here to tell you something, my friend. You're not worthless. You hear me? You're not. In fact, on the boat, you're not even allowed to think that. You are as important a human being as the idiots we vote into office. Do you understand? I mean this. Listen carefully. Just because you have struggled in your life with drugs, alcohol, bad habits, whatever the case may be, you are not worthless. You are an incredibly important individual in a lot of ways, and you're important to me, and you're important to everybody on this boat. So, I want you to start doing something right now, and that is getting the thought out of your head permanently. Words mean things. when you see, and I know all you're doing is communicating how you felt, but you're going to have to start replacing that with some really positive stuff. You're here. What does that mean? Seriously, why are you here? You're here because unlike the people 2 channels over or people watching the Kardashians, you're here because you want to change your life and make yourself into something better, correct? Okay. Is that the act of someone worthless? Is that the act of someone content with being of no worth to society, to himself, to his family? No. That is the act of someone who is taking steps to improve who you are. That alone, if nothing else, is a pat on the back, and it's a statement of who and what you are, and that is not worthless. You are already taking action to make yourself a better human being. And damn it, in my book, that is the start of something fantastic. Now, anyone who starts feeling the feeling of feeling depressed or feeling worthless, this is the time where you start to really take a look at what you want to be, at who you want to be. Because as you're sitting there and you're feeling like, oh man, I'm not worth it. I'm not doing this in life and I don't feel comfortable with that. Get this bad boy out and take a pencil and say, the person who's not worthless, who is that person? Right? Me. We'll go with me. All right. I'm Tommy. I'm feeling worthless. I'm sitting in a prison cell. All right. Nothing in my life is good. Nothing. I just got stabbed. Right? I just got a letter from a woman I think to be the most beautiful woman in the world and a woman that I live for. And I just got a letter from her saying, hey, there's a million things that I want to say to you, but I think I'll just go with I want a divorce. This is the day after I got stabbed and life flighted off of a prison yard hospital. By the way, I'm addicted to heroin and I'm about to kick it in the shoe with nothing, not an aspirin or nothing. Pretty much at a low point. And I'm feeling worthless. And guess what? I'm pretty close to worthless. At this point in my life, there's not a lot there that, to justify me being anything but. So, let's get this thing out. If I wasn't worthless, who would I be? Well, I'll tell you something. I wouldn't break my word to anybody, right? I'm going to be honest. If I say I'm going to do something, I'm going to do it. If I tell you that this will be done by Tuesday at 2 o'clock, man, you better bank on that. You can set your watch and your calendar by me. That's who I'm going to be. Okay, that's who I'm going to be. I'm not going to walk like this, man. The world is going to see me coming and go, that cat is confident. So I'm going to put confident down here. Think I'm crazy? I made a list of who the not worthless person was. This is who I want to be, to not feel worthless and to not appear worthless to the world. This is it. I'm going to design that new person. I can sit and wallow. I'm not talking about you, I'm talking about me. I could sit and wallow, but I wasn't gonna. I was gonna start filling this out. Who do I want to be? And I mean down to the minutia. People pick on me. I say it all the time. Started with, for me, the most basic of things, right? The most basic of things. I'm gonna brush my teeth 3 times a day. I was in prison, right? I'm gonna brush my teeth 3 times a day at a minimum. Every day. I'm going to make my bed before 6 a.m. every single day. It sounds stupid, right? There was only 7 or 8 things I had that I could control, right? What am I going to? I'm going to go get a job. No, there were so few things that I could control that, damn it, I was taking control of every one of them. I could make my bed. I could do it before anybody else did in the morning. For real. I didn't wear clothing unless it was perfect. Now, I'm not talking about going and buying nice stuff. I had prison crap on, but it was going to be clean. I'd be damned if there was going to be a stain on anything I owned, because all of these things were the only things I could control. Do you understand? So, if you're feeling worthless, what things can you control right now? Change behaviors. Make a list of who it is you want to be. I doubt you're going to make a list of someone that is worthless. You're going to make a list of somebody that says, if I'm that guy right there, then I have succeeded. Make that list. Sobriety, this goes for the depressed people. Sobriety is an action. Do you understand? It is not just, well, I quit. There are people out there. I can point you to them, and you can go look at them. All they did was quit. That's all they did. People become a new creation, right? Become the change, right? For you and for the world. You feel worthless? Change that. Define the worthless person. Write down what makes you worthless. Now make a list of the things that would make you not worthless. Become it. I'm dead serious. That's the time to fill out that list. Please. Let's see, what do we got here? Jerry Armitage. Jerry says, I've been depressed all my life. Jerry, we're working on this, are we not? I spoke to Jerry today on the phone, people. He's a great guy. He really is. And we're making some progress and we're moving forward. Are we not, Jerry? You ready to start really making some changes? Jerry's got massive potential, and I'm not saying that just to be nice. Jerry can do this. I have very high hopes for you, Jerry. I really do. I got high hopes for you. Flamin' Jackson. Can I use the lifeboat logo as my Facebook profile picture? I want to promote this channel and let people know that I am part of this wonderful crew. Absolutely. Of course you can. Of course you can. I have no problem with that whatsoever, Jackson. Absolutely you can. Okay, next question would be from Moment of Truth. I don't think I ever had that time when I felt better than quitting. Man, I love that. I love that. Wow. Oh, wait a second. You don't think you have ever had a time where you felt better for quitting? Am I reading this wrong? So what you're saying is you have quit and it never made you feel any better than when you were using. Is that what I'm to understand? If that is the case, can you please put that up there for me? Moment of truth. Is that what I got? So you quit, but you felt no better for having quit. Is that what I'm to understand? Yeah, I'm hoping that pops up here. I would really like to hear that, because that, I really gotta try to understand that if that's what was said. All right, hold on here. Okay, so he has not felt any happier since quitting. Moment of truth. How long ago did you quit? Jesse Stinson says, hey, Tommy, you're like a brother to me. I appreciate that, my friend. I really do. God bless. And thank you for being here, Jesse. I really appreciate that. So you have not had a positive feeling. Here's the deal, my friend. Moment of truth. Then what you are describing is clinical depression. And if all of the things that you have done have not moved you forward in any way toward feeling better, then what you have is a chemical process going on in the brain that literally is making you incapable of feeling good, right? This is anhedonia. You are not capable of feeling good emotions. This needs to be medicated. I'm not picking on you. I'm just being serious. If there was not even a honeymoon period after you quit doing drugs, then what we're talking about is clinical depression. This is something that needs treatment. And please take this seriously, right? For the sake of yourself and for the sake of all of the people that care about you, please, you need to go and talk to a doctor about this. This is far beyond anything that we can love you, brother. We really can, and I'd be more than happy to. But you're not going to find the magic bullet here that is going to make you happy. If there was not a moment after which you quit using drugs that you felt better, then nothing that we tell you here is going to be the bullet that does. And that really is the truth. You're talking about something that this happens, people, and there are people on the planet that believe. There are people on the planet that believe that depression doesn't exist, or that it's, everybody just, all they got to do is dust themselves off. You know what I mean? Cheer up. It's in your head. No, absolutely not. There are people for whom there is a chemical malfunction that goes on in the brain, plain and simple. And the chemicals that make you happy, quite simply, aren't getting to where they need to, right? And because of that, you have an inability to feel joy the way normal people do. So what you need to do is be medicated. And there's nothing wrong with that, people. Again, our society says that if someone's getting medicated, they're weak. Tell you what, I needed it right here. I was depressed and I took medication for depression. In fact, I went through 5 different medications. And I'm not a doctor. I can tell you what worked for me, but I was quite willing to go into a doctor and say, I can't get happy no matter what is going on in my life. I was there. And fortunately for me, it was something that over time I grew out of. By the way, this was not as a child. I was in my 30s when I went to a doctor for depression, and I was treated for probably 6 years or 7 years. And then it got to a point where I was taken off the medication because I became incarcerated. Not that they weren't willing to give me the medication, but there was a lag from between the time that I got arrested and the time that I ended up at the facility where I could go and talk to a doctor or anything else. But during that downtime, I was without medication and realized that I was still happy and good things were going on. But you know, if that's where you are, my brother, you have to go see a doctor. You're not going to get the fix from Captain Tommy. And I got to be honest when those things come up. Okay. Now you've said, oh no, it's okay. I'm not trying to be happy. Bro, you know what? No offense. I mean, how do I even answer this? Seriously. Moment of truth, God bless you, brother. There's nothing I can do for you, bud. There really isn't. You've not been happy. You don't want to be happy. Then it sounds like you're right where you need to be. There's not much I can do for you. If you don't want to be happy and you're not, then you're successful, right? Great. You're where you need to be, bud. There's nothing I can do. I can't even give advice at this point. That's just kind of where we're at, right? I hope you continue to be not happy and content being not happy, I guess. That's what you're saying. I got nowhere to go from this. No offense. But I don't know. There's no way to... How do you answer that, Peep? Is it me? Am I being a jerk? How do you answer that? You're not happy, but you don't want to be happy. We're good, right? Nothing to discuss. You don't want to be happy and you're not. We're good. Everything is great. Any other questions we got, people? Let me see. Jesse Stinson has a question. He says, when will I see Johnny again? You know what? We have, there's actually been some fairly serious discussions between my brother and I. He has got some scheduling stuff coming up. I believe October is going to be a pretty busy month for him. So we're trying to figure out something where we can get together prior to that. I know we're getting close to the end of the month here. In a perfect world, Johnny and I might see each other in the next couple of weeks. If not, we're probably looking at November, but we've got some things we want to do together, not just as brothers, but you know, for Chase the Heat and for the Lifeboat. There's a couple of other videos that of things that we would like to do, sort of like you know, joint things, collaborations, stuff we're really looking forward to. So yeah, my answer would be with any luck whatsoever in the next couple of weeks. If not, though, then we are going to be we're going to end up in November. But hopefully, you know, we do this before October, and it'll kind of be a shock to everybody because, you know, or less so here, I guess. He hasn't told anybody over at Chase the Heat, but we're trying to put it together right now. That would be it's fun. I mean, we have a lot of fun when we get together, and I think people enjoy it. You know, when Johnny and I are together, we're a lot alike. You know, so the interplay, you know, back and forth between the two of us is usually good for a laugh. Let's see what else we have. Jerry. Jerry said, Tommy calling me today touched my heart. I was in tears for a guy who just met me to call me. It's just unbelievable. I can't describe it. Thank you, Jerry. Jerry and everybody else, man. Here's the thing. We're all in the same boat, right? All of us, with very few exceptions, we all want the same thing, right? We would like to be free from the things that have enslaved us, and we'd like to be happy. You know, we just want to go through life and enjoy everything that we can, you know, while we're here, and we'd like to do it without all of the trials and tribulations that we put on ourselves when we started down a road that ended with us, you know, enslaved by a habit or a substance. And you know, that's, yeah. I appreciate you, Jerry. I really do. Jerry, when I was at a really, really bad place in my life, a guy reached out to me, and I was shocked that he decided that, and he had a wealth of knowledge, and I was just blown away that this guy wanted to help me. There was no reason whatsoever that he should have had any reason to put the time and the effort he did into me. And I remember saying to him, he's doing life in prison, and I said to him, you know, when I get out, I can put some money on your books, right? Because you get a little bank account that you can shop with and stuff. I said, you know, I'll put some money on your books or whatever. He said, no, I don't need that. And we called him Q. And he said to me, when you get out, just be somebody else's Q. So I think today I was being somebody else's Q, you know what I mean? And so I'm glad that you appreciate it, Jerry. You're going to end up on your feet. You're going to be living a great life. And when you do, be somebody's Tommy, right? And we'll just keep doing that right down the line. And I promise you, it'll make you feel about that uncomfortable when the person says to you, you know, I appreciate it. I really appreciate it. It's just, you're a good guy, Jerry. And this is going to work out for you, brother. I promise you. You're going to be really surprised at what the future holds. I have big hopes and dreams for you, my friend. And I have absolutely no doubt in my mind that you're going to be on here talking about how, you know, you're not going to be saying you've been depressed your whole life. You're going to say, I was depressed for a long time. It's going to be a very different model, right? And I'm pretty excited about that for you. I really am. You're a good cat. Appreciate you. I really do. Are there any other questions anyone has got? I'm sure that there's one or two. So let me see here. Let me go through here. Let me go through here. Yeah. Yeah, people, I'll tell you something else. There are going to be times, people, there are going to be times where there are limits to the things that I can do to help individuals. It's the reality of life. What I do is use the experiences that I've had to talk about the ways in which I got sober. I was on the phone with a close friend, there was last night or the night before, and we were going through photos, you know, how friends tend to do. So I was showing pictures of my children and some pictures of, by the way, well, they are a crew member, but this is someone that is much more than a crew member. You know, this is somebody that, I love this person, aside from the boat. If it had nothing to do with anything, this is a person that I very much love. And I was showing this person some pictures, and I was seeing some pictures of their family, which I hadn't seen before. And I was going through, and I pulled out a picture, and it's me, and I would say there's probably, 75 or 100 people in the picture. And as I was going through it, the person was like, what's that photo? And it's on a prison yard. So it's me, and it's all of these guys, and they're convicted felons. And there's something about prison pictures, you know what I mean? Everybody tries to... There's something about the convict that, you know, they all, in every picture, they always look the same. It's that I'm trying to look really hard, and, you know, a lot of goatees, a lot of bald heads. But they were asking if this is, was that the unit you were in? You know, those are the guys. I said, no, that was the first boat, right? This was a group. I started to do this in prison for some people, and 2 guys showed up. I put up a little thing on the wall that said, I told them the truth. I was experimenting with a different way of getting sober. I was doing some things that Q had taught me, and, you know, I was no longer at a prison that he was at, and I wanted to, you know, I had been shipped to another prison. And it started with 2 guys. And within a year, there was over 80 people that were coming every single day. And a lot of really transformative, life-changing things happened for an awful lot of these guys. And it was awesome. It gave me the opportunity to really start kind of honing what it is that I do. But even in that situation right there, it became very, very evident that there are people I can help. There are people I can't. And I'm never going to create busy work, or I'm never going to to hand out advice just so that I sound like I'm saying something. And it doesn't mean that I'm not going to love you if I say, you know, you're not a person I can help. There is nothing about that I'm being mean or anything of that nature. You know what I'm saying? It's just, honestly, it's not, I'm just being honest. And if I can't help you, then you need to go get some help. But unless you're perfectly happy where you are. But if you are, why are we asking questions? You understand what I'm saying, people? I love all of you. There is a question that is come up, and I'm going to answer this question. Normally, people, I don't answer any of the heat questions because being a Scoville, very quickly this has the potential to become a pepper channel by accident. And look, I'm a chili head. I am. But there's a purpose to this channel. But I'm going to throw you a bone, Jesse. The hottest thing that I've ever eaten is a primatali. Okay, that's in terms of pepper. The hottest pepper I've ever eaten is a primatali. Hands down, no two ways about it. The hottest experience I ever had, you can actually see it's still up there. It's recorded. I did a tube of terror in 43 seconds. And that beat Johnny's record by a lot. Right? He had the record and it was at a minute and something. I don't know. I want to say he did it like a minute 32. But so after I had done it, I was on film. It was on a talk show. So when I was done, everybody had the timer on, and the timer started flashing all over the place. 43, 43. And everybody said, "Oh man, you killed it. You beat that record so badly, like you shattered it." And I said, "Oh yeah, but here's the thing. When Johnny broke the record, when Johnny did the tube in a minute and 30 seconds, he didn't drink anything afterwards. He did it just like the instructions on the tube." And the guy goes, "You haven't drank anything. Oh, you're saying you're gonna?" And then I opened a bottle of tincture, right? And it was from M. Prescott-Sason called Tommy's Tink. It's got my picture on it, right? It's my tincture. And it's a ghost pepper tincture. It's very hot. But this was what's called the jacked up version. So you just take regular tincture, which is hotter than the hinges to hell anyway, and then add almost 3/4 of a gram of just pure capsaicin crystals. So this will take you through it. This is an endorphin dump like nothing you've ever done. So sitting right there, right, in the office, I drank the entire bottle of that tincture to wash down a 43-second tube of terror. And that is the hottest experience in my life. I thought I was going to go to the hospital. The crazy thing is that, people, there's a debate that rages whether you should go and get everything out, Wasn't an option. I was on a talk show and I was going to be on film for an hour. So by the time I was off the show, everything had already passed to where it was going to go. And I had the most miserable 12-hour stretch. The capsaicin cramps literally tied me in a knot. But that was a publicity stunt for here. The show, the Tommy Scoville show was 2 days old, something like that when I did that. And I did it for no other reason than to get people talking. Because all of the people that emailed me or whatever, I'd say, "Oh, by the way, I'm doing a show." Actually, it was 2 days before. I said, "And I'm doing a show. You might want to tune in." And I basically tricked a bunch of people to seeing my first show because they thought I was probably going to do something like eat peppers. So it was the last of my publicity stunts. But it was really hot and it almost killed me. So for peppers, primatali. Hottest experience ever. A full bottle of tincture as a chaser to a 43-second tube of terror. That was definitely the hottest. So there you go, Jesse. I will give you the heat question of the day because I love you, brother. All right. Wolf Light. Dosing out would be an excellent topic. Slowly getting off of whatever needs to leave the body. Okay, now here's the deal. I did it again. All right. Sure, I said it. Here's the deal. Leave me alone, man. I'm sorry. I say here's the deal a lot. And it started as a joke, and now I can't stop saying it. It's awful, but here's the deal. As far as dosing out would go, there are very few things, and people will argue with me on this, but you have to realize that I spent a fairly vicious amount of time trying to do this with everything. So if the flavor of the month club was I was doing OxyContin 80s, I would try to step down off the OxyContin 80s. For me, that was not an option ever. It never worked. It never worked. There is a reason that they don't detox people using whatever drug that they're on. If dosing out was something that really works, and you went into the doctor and you said, look, I'm addicted to OxyContin, they would go, okay, well, let's just start taking less OxyContin. It really doesn't work. Because of the addictive behavior and the addictive patterns in the brain, it's not going to allow you to do that. It really doesn't. Now, there are people who have been able to cut down. There are going to be people who argue and say, well, I weaned off. Folks, there are anomalies to everything. But as an across-the-board thing, weaning off doesn't work unless you're doing it with methadone or you're doing it with Suboxone. And the reason is those drugs have really ridiculously long half-lives. How long does it take for half of the drug to get out of your system? So if you take 10 milligrams of a drug, how long before 5 are already burnt out? That would be the half-life, right? Okay. The half-life for methadone is ungodly long, right? Because of that, the methadone builds up in your system. You can start taking yourself down slowly and bleed it out of your system, in theory. And with Suboxone, using Suboxone as a way to taper down works beautifully. It's one of the reasons that they took buprenorphine and turned it into Suboxone, because you absolutely can taper off Suboxone, and fairly easily. I've done it, and I'll do an entire show on that. How's that, my brother? I will do a whole show on the concept, on what drugs you can do it with, and exactly how I successfully did it when I did. Yeah, I'll do that. I think you're right. I think that's probably an important topic. Okay? Good call, man. I absolutely will do that. That was Derek. No, it wasn't. See that? Look at that, man. Things moving. Okay. So that was Wolf Light. Bent Genetics. Question. Where are you thin? Oh, what were you thinking? I got you. What was I thinking the first time I put a needle in my arm? The first time I put a needle in my arm, what I was thinking was my habit had gotten to the point where I was closing in on like $1,000 a day that it took to satisfy my drug habit. And so first I'm going to tell you the logic, and then I'll tell you, the emotion. But the logic behind it was I was sitting with a guy that I had been doing dope with for a long period of time, who said to me, I started injecting this stuff. I said, yeah, I'm like, don't do it in front of me. I don't want to watch it, So he would go into the bathroom and he would fix. And I said to him, I'm like, I just don't understand why you felt the need to take it to that level. And he said, it was costing me $150 a day, to stay well or to stay high or whatever term he used. He said, and now it's costing me 20. I was like, what? So for me, the logic of basic economics, I could not continue at the rate I was going. And I was already in deep trouble. But I wasn't stealing. I hadn't gotten to that phase. I still had money. I was just going through it. And I had a very high-paying job, and I would come home at the end of the week with no money. So it was a way I had to try to hide my drug abuse and continue the ability to continue to keep getting high, because at that point I was terrified of the process that I was going to have to quit. I was thoroughly freaked out that I was going to have to go through withdrawal and do all of those things. So I went to the needle. Now, the first time that I actually did it, there was somebody volunteered to do it for me, and I didn't like that idea because I figured if I was going to do this, I may as well, figure it out. And I didn't miss, there's a process to injecting. If this is the vein, you want the needle to go in there, but you don't want the needle to come out the backside, right? That's called infiltration, and things leak out. But when it goes in, you have to draw blood back up into it. So there's kind of a science, you got to put the needle in, and then you got to draw it back out, and then once the dope mixes with the blood, then you sort of plunge it home. I was concentrating so hard on what I was doing, but when the pain of the needle broke the skin the first time, there was a bit of a shock because I expected it to hurt considerably worse than it did. But when the plunger, hit the bottom of the syringe, I was sick, right? I was already in withdrawal, and it took 4 seconds, maybe 5 seconds, and it was over, right? There was no more pain, no more sick, no more nothing. Like the song Comfortably Numb, right? You feel that little prick, but then there's no more pain. Like everything went away. And from that point forward, boy, it was over. It really was. The crazy thing is, I didn't give up the other way that I was doing it. I would get up in the morning, and in the morning, I'm not kidding you, I'm like this, right? I mean, my hand is shaking so bad that there's literally no way you're going to find a vein and successfully fix. So I would get up in the morning and I would smoke until I stopped having the shakes. I would put, a gram of heroin or whatever on the tinfoil, and I would smoke that until my hand was steady enough that I could get a shot in. So even right up until the bitter end, I was doing both. I was smoking and shooting. It was the dumbest thing in the world. But, it's a great question because it really highlights, just to talk about it now, it's so stupid that it's literally like explaining to somebody, well, so here's what I did. I opened the car door and I put my finger there, right? And I thought, now if I just slam it as hard as I can, right? Like, who would put their finger in a car door and slam it, right? How dumb is that? Well, it's the same thing. And honestly, now the disconnect, when to talk about this and to do it clinically, I'm talking about putting a needle in my arm as a way to get drugs into your body. The stupidity and it's so difficult looking back to wrap my brain around the fact that I was comfortable doing this. Really, it just gives you an idea of how far you fall because there's nothing logical. Even if you justify it by saying, I was saving money, or it was definitely a lot cheaper, and truthfully, when you're smoking 5-6 grams a day, it's hard on your lungs. So all of these different things, all of these different things that are going through your head as justification for why you're doing it. But there's no justification. There's no logic. It's just plain stupid. But that's what was going on in my head. And I appreciate the question. That's a good one because I really hope that it highlights just how far you can fall, because I think that that's important. Ernie Eastman, he says, hey Tommy, I hope all is well. Ernie, thank you. I'll be honest, I'm pretty content. I really am. I'm pretty happy with where I'm at in life. It was a tough morning, right? But the day has gotten progressively better. In terms of, my health, my nose is stuffed up. It's been like that for the last couple of days. But the headache, the really awful headache that I had the other day, that has subsided. And like I said, I got together with an old friend on the telephone. It's the same person I was talking about that I was showing the pictures. And we got to laughing about something. And I honestly think I laughed my way into a headache. That may sound really, really silly, but I laughed so hard that, it basically shut me down. Captain Tommy Scoville, are you going to make any more appearances on Tincture Tuesday? You know what? Probably at some point. Here's the problem. I'm just going to be 100% honest. And here's the problem with that. I got known for drinking entire bottles of tincture. People, if you never... tincture is just an extract of the hottest pepper stuff in the world put in a bottle. And Jackson, you remember the day, I think you might have even been on with this that day. I think you might have been. I used to say to Johnny, let me go first, right? It's like it looks like the Brady Bunch, right? It's like a live feed, but there's 6 little boxes. And I said, hey, let me go first. And you just take an eyedropper and you do an eyedropper full of tincture. And they call it a Robbie dropper. I said, just let me go first. And I would do the Robbie dropper and then boom, I'm out the door and I can go back to doing what I'm doing. And Johnny said, sure, I'll do that. Well, he didn't. He basically made me go last. So I think I was the 6th person to go. And by the time it got to me, instead of taking the Robbie dropper, I had it in my hand and I had the bottle of tincture and I had the Robbie dropper. And everybody, it starts with one guy who does this much and the next guy who does this much. And it just keeps getting bigger. And I thought, to heck with it. So I just went and dumped an entire bottle of tincture down my gullet. And then I did what was left of the Robbie dropper and dropped the bottle like you would the microphone. I got an awful lot of people that said an awful lot of stuff like that. I don't know that famous is the right word. Yeah, I guess it is. Within the pepper community, I got pretty famous for that stunt. The problem with that is, anytime I'm within 70 feet of tincture, I'm now expected to drink a bottle of it. And I've done it maybe 6 or 7 times, I think. About 7 bottles of tincture. So, Jackson, I'd like to stop by, but you got to be honest with me. If I go by and I do that much in an eyedropper, everybody goes, right? Because they're expecting me to drink the entire bottle. And what that does to you, I mean, drink a bottle. It's the cap cramps and all of the things that you deal with. Yeah, I just don't. I don't want to have to drink another bottle, which happens almost every time I get near capsaicin. I'm expected to do that. So I don't know. I may make an appearance. I should stop by just to say hi to my brother. I may do that, Jackson. I'll look into that. So let me see here. Would I evaluate the C11 plus 8 compared to the common cold flu? Great question. Yeah, let me do this. The first day that I had that stuff that's going around with the pandemic, right? Or the epidemic, or whatever you want to call it. The first day that I had the 19 thing was like a very, very, very severe flu. That's what it felt like. I had a sore throat and some body aches, but it was really severe. It was probably like the worst case of the flu that I ever had. The second day, I felt like I had been in a football game and just had the hell kicked out of me, right? Or a prison riot. My entire body hurt. There was not one part of my body that felt like it hadn't been stomped on. And breathtaking how badly my body hurt. That was day 2. By like day 4, you really start getting concerned that, because this was pain that I never had felt ever. And I honestly didn't realize that, that it was going to get even close to that bad. At that point, it was so much worse than any flu I had ever felt. And then the smell thing, or I lost my sense of smell, kicked in. If I were to compare it to a regular flu, I would say that it was 5 to 10 times worse than any flu I had ever had. And it had legs. You know what I mean? By that I mean, when I get the flu, it's a 3 to 4 day thing, and after that it's over. That is certainly not the case with the big C. It took 10 or 11 days before I started feeling like I was out of the woods. So it definitely is it's a different animal altogether. It really is. You can't compare it. Now, that being said, my son got it and was outside gardening and like it did nothing to him. It really did absolutely nothing to him. So, yeah. It's different for everybody, I guess. It really is. It's absolutely different for everybody. But for me, I've never felt a flu like that. That was so much worse. And the body pains were staggering. They were staggering. It was just awful. Greg F. It says, Tommy, thanks for talking me into getting off energy drinks and sodas, even helping me drink less. He says, you are so positive, you help me a ton. All I can do is a dropper full of tincture and I suffer. And again, people, see, I told you. I love you, bro, I really do. But if I answer one question, this becomes a pepper channel. This is why, Jesse, I love you. But this is why I tend not to answer them, and I'm not busting you people, because this is me. I should have, but I'm a Scoville, so it's always going to come up. Here's the thing, man, an eyedropper full of tincture, I doubt I could do it right now. I really don't think I could. I have let my tolerance go. For all intents and purposes, I walked away from it. I really did. I walked away from it. And I mean, I still use hot sauce. But I'm not doing anything for the sake of burn, and really by design. In the very beginning of this channel, I had my foot in both worlds. And one is going to suffer. Or both are going to suffer, right? I couldn't do what I'm doing here and maintain any kind of a presence in the chili community. I couldn't. I mean, I can show up at at festivals and just be Tommy because everybody knows me. But to go out there and do it, you have to have a very serious appreciation for the people who, even if they're not competing, people who are doing challenges and doing multiple challenges, and it takes a tremendous amount of training to be a chili head. You have to suffer, and you have to do it every day. I by choice, stop doing that. Because to me, this is more important than anything else, right? So by choice, I kind of walked away from it. I will still go to festivals because I love the community and I love the people in the community, most of them. Although I'll tell you something, even that's changing. It used to be, the Pepper community used to be the most positive group of people anywhere in the world. And I'll tell you what, right now, and anybody in the community would tell you that there's a change going on. There really is. It's not nearly as positive as it used to be. When things really started to take off in the chili community, there were 5 or 6 channels. Now there's hundreds and hundreds and hundreds. And a lot of them have a very different philosophy than the ones that got big. There's a lot of negativity. There's a lot of people that are pounding on their chest doing the I'm tougher than you kind of a thing, and that had died away. With that, it's probably the last I got to say about the Pepper community or Burning or any of that. I love you all. It's just that this most assuredly is a channel about living your best life and staying sober. If you stay sober by doing hot stuff, that's fantastic. But yeah, I am. I know I'm going to hurt some feelings with that, but it is what it is, people. I have one goal and one goal only. Anna says the lifeboat is the new tincture. I love you. What a great comment. Absolutely. And you know what my new drug of choice is? Kindness. Give it a try. Get high on it. Tell me what you think. There is nothing better than getting a really good buzz on a fat dose of kindness. Yeah, try it. Tommy Scoville's drug of choice. Kindness. Think I'm kidding? Try it. And Anna, great comment. Great comment. Love it. Love it. I really do. That is just, oh goodness. Yeah, that is, I'm sorry. I just got a very, very funny text from my kid. Yeah, the people, you can quote me. Kindness, world's best drug of choice. It really is just something absolutely incredible. And no matter how much I do, even if I feel like I'm overdosing on kindness, I never regret it. I've never said to myself, boy, I wish I was a little less kind than I was yesterday. Right? If you're going to err on the side of being too kind. There's not much that the world can say if that's the mistake that you make. And along those same lines, people, something that got beat to death this morning, but now that we're not talking about the issue, being beautiful is a choice. It's a choice. It's not something you're born with. It is a choice. And it is a choice that people make up to 100 to 200 times a day. You choose to be beautiful. You choose to be kind. All of those things. Just as easily, you can choose the other direction. And I'll tell you something. Watch what happens. If you choose to be negative, right? You choose to be negative. Try to be successful in what you're doing while being negative. You're going to find that more often than not, you're going to fail. For real. People don't like to deal with individuals who are negative, right? I certainly don't. I don't. I want to deal with positive individuals. I want to deal with people who, when I'm with them, I feel better about life. So I have steadily been eliminating the negative people out of my life. I don't deal with them anymore. Some you have to, but I certainly limit any kind of contact with these people. I no longer converse with them. You know, there are people that I used to check in with every couple of days. You know, hey, how you doing? But if I watch these people, and the one thing that you got to say about social media is, in the old days, you meet someone and you say, I wonder what kind of person they are, and you sort of have to hang out for a period of time to find out exactly, what kind of person an individual is. Now, if I meet you on a Monday, in 45 minutes of just doing a deep dive on all of the things that you've said and done on social media, I'll know exactly who you are, right? People they lay it out there for the world. They put out everything you ever wanted to know about them is right there. All you got to do is show up and it's right there. So it's one of the bonuses of. It is definitely one of the bonuses of. Hey, the idea of a T-shirt that says "Kill with kindness." I like it. I absolutely like it. That has got potential. That was my phone, people. Sorry. Yes. So, yeah, social media. The whole world can tell exactly who you are, right? They can tell if you're kind. They can tell if you're mean. They can tell if you're happy. They can tell if you're not. So, what image do you want to put out for the world? You want the world to know you're a happy person, or you want the world to think you're not? You want the world to think you're a kind person, or do you want the world to think you're not? It's a very, very unique thing, this social media phenomenon. We really have a choice of what we project. So now instead of walking into a room and people going, oh, there's that Tommy guy, I wonder what he's like. All they got to do is go online, right? I'm very easy to look up. They can look up Instagram, they can look up Facebook, they can look up YouTube, right? And without meeting me, without having to ask me one word, they can probably form a pretty good opinion on what I am, who I am, all of that. So, but the best part is this. If the image that you've got out there is one that you're unhappy with, you can change it. Don't think for a second you can't. You absolutely can. It's just like getting sober, right? If you've been a jerk for the last 5 years, quit. Quit being a jerk, right? Transform yourself. Become positive. Be the change, right? Be the change. It's not such a difficult thing, people. Oh, by the way, I am going to be going shopping tomorrow, and hopefully I'm going to have a laptop so that I can actually read who's in the comment section, and I can actually read the comments as they come up instead of just getting having a phone that sends the, without people having to send me the questions so that I can read them. It would be a little bit, but I've developed really bad habits. Sleeping to 4 a.m. I just procrastinate on my duties. What advice would you give? Well, I mean, if you're not addicted to any substances, and really the only problem that you have is bad habits. Bad habits are easier to get rid of than addictions by a long stretch. The thing with bad habits, and this is no cliche, it's a fact, you must replace a bad habit with a good one. Plain and simple. They used to say, anything you do for 10 days will start to become a habit. I say 30. That's been my experience. If you do the exact same thing at the exact same time every day for 30 days, believe it becomes a habit. There's no mistaking it. It will become a habit. So what you have to do, and I would tell, this is the same thing, buckle out, this is the same thing that I tell addicts. There is some behavior that you are doing that you're unhappy with. Yes? Okay. Or that you feel needs to be changed. Make a list of what that behavior is. Plain and simple. Write it down. Okay? The 4 a.m. thing. Boom, boom, boom. Write it down on a piece of paper. Then write down the behaviors that you want to do. And whatever happens, right? Don't do the old one for 30 days. All of the new behaviors, you have to do them as if your life depended on it for 30 days. And then, second nature. I promise you. People, if I go to bed at 4 o'clock in the morning, right? At 5:45, I'm going to get up. I may get up, walk around, brush my teeth, and then go back to bed. But I got up at 5:45 for far too long for me to ever stop. It is so ingrained now that, like throwing a switch, that's what time my brain is going to come to and say, all right, Tommy, it's time to go. It's time to get up. It's not difficult to create a habit. It really isn't. Especially in a situation where one habit replaces another one, right? It really, your chances are, especially because you're here and you're asking, the host of the show about this is something you've been thinking about and something you've been considering. You know exactly what it is you have to stop doing. So at the exact same time that you would be doing X, Y, or Z, you need to be doing something else, right? Idle time, it's just like you're an addict. If you have nothing to do, if your bad habit is drinking soda, but you drink it every single night at 9 o'clock, you better have something to do tomorrow night at 9 o'clock. Because when 9 o'clock comes around and you don't have that soda, that habit of so long of doing it is going to become an issue. And you're going to be like, you start just like anything else. It's a habit, right? So if I were trying to stop drinking, Coca-Cola at 9 o'clock at night, at 8:45, I'd be out doing something that I was going to have to do until 9:15. I would create something that would take up that time. You have to break the cycle of whatever the bad habit is that you're doing. Plain and simple. You got to break the cycle. If you go to bed at 4 a.m., my guess is that you're not sitting there going like this until 4 a.m. Am I right? Okay. You're doing something that is keeping you awake until 4 a.m. Video games, whatever, talking on the telephone, surfing the web, whatever it is you're doing, that's a habit. You absolutely must change that habit. What is it you're doing that's keeping you up till 4 a.m.? You feel me? Eliminate that. And it's going to be very easy to start going to sleep. It's just the way it is. Okay. So, here's a giggity. It's about that time of night, people. We're getting pretty close. We're going to take a few more questions. And then we will call it an evening. We have been on here a fairly long time, and that is great, people. I am not complaining because, as you all know, the longer that we do these live feeds, the longer that we stay on here, the closer we are getting to the finish line. Brandon, see your name up there on the screen flash by. Brandon, congratulations on your 7 days, my brother. I am very, very... I can't read that. I wish I could. It's too small. But I'm proud of you, Brandon. I really am. I could not be any more proud of you. That is a great thing. The fact that you made it 7 days. Sorry. All right. Thanks for the stream. Do I have a consistent streaming schedule? I don't have a consistent anything schedule, and I apologize for that. This channel is very, very new, Bucklow, and we're just sort of getting to the point where everything is getting put together. So the time is coming where I'll be able to get these things sort of in a more organized fashion, I promise you. But I go live as often as possible. Reason being, we're trying to get to the monetization so that we can bring on YouTube as a partner for the boat. That happens at 4,000 hours and 1,000 subscribers. We took care of the 1,000 subscribers in the first 3 weeks. Now we're working on the 4,000 hours, and we're on the home stretch, right? We've got more than about 80% of that already done. But going Monday, I will be getting back to work. Just the way it is. I have to, the C20-1 is dead and buried and gone, so the time has come, the walrus said, to head back to work, and that would mean that there will be less live streams, to be sure, but I post 2 videos a day, traditionally. The first one goes up before 12 o'clock Pacific time, right, every day, and the second one goes up always between 5 and 6, normally 5 on the nose is when the second one goes up. But since I have been out of work recovering from the C29 minus, whatever. So since I've been out recovering, I've been doing some live feeds and getting as many in as I can. You know, it benefits the channel, so we've been doing that. But that's going to be coming to a halt here, so probably Monday. And once that happens, then I'll probably be doing 1 or 2 of them a week. That's the realistic thing. But if you tune in, right, hit that bell, the ship's bell, and it's going to tell you every time I post a video. So that will tell you when I'm going live. This weekend, tomorrow, I'll probably try to squeeze in at least 1 live feed, maybe 2, 5 days a week. Woohoo! Pretty excited about that, not gonna lie to you. And people, if all goes well, the day is coming where this will be my full-time job. And I don't mean because I'm going to make enough money. I mean because I am going to structure my life in such a way that I'm able to do this and dedicate 40 to 50 hours a week to it. Currently, I probably put about 30 hours a week into it. But 30 hours a week into that, 60 hours a week into the other job. I'm not complaining, people. I've been to prison. Like I lived I lived a really rugged existence. Before I got sick, I was working 60 hours a week. I was putting 30 hours a week in here, right? And I was doing stuff in the backyard, and I've never been happier. So I'm not complaining. You know, I got the world on a string. I really do. I don't know how to explain this any better than to say that most people dream things, and they're just that. You know, they're dreams. They're things that, you know, in a perfect world, I would live what I wanted the new Tommy to be. You know, I listed everything. I can't stress this enough, people. I listed everything, and what the new Tommy was going to do for work, right? The ability to help people with their problems, whether those problems were drugs or alcohol or any compulsion that they can't seem to stop. And then once I found out that I'm pretty good at it, you know, it started to gain momentum, and I started working with people, you know, not just in this format, but I work with people one-on-one as well, and the reward, you know, for that. And I don't mean financial. I mean the reward for that in here and how you feel. They ever say that when they mean it? You know, isn't it one of those things the dream? So I am where I want to be. So I'm not complaining when I say that next week it's going to be 60 hours and I'm going to be back to the old grind. I'm even excited about that. The money at that place is really good. I do make very decent money there, especially considering that it's not, you know, I'm certainly not using my college degree. I'm in there just sort of, you know, a labor type of job, but they're paying really well, and that money's good, because believe it or not, folks, it just goes into the boat. I mean, honestly, what I do, you know, with the money that and you know, the money that I make goes into the boat. So I'm excited because I've got a wish list now that it continually gets bigger. And that just is the gospel truth. I'm excited to get back to work, but it is going to mean a slightly different schedule. Uh-oh. Did I just see the word buffering? Yeah, that's great. About the buffering. So, I'll tell you what though, since we're at that time of night anyway, and we seem to be having some problems, why don't I wrap this thing up, huh? And buffering here. Yep, it's buffering frames. It's dropping frames. Okay, people, we're going to call it a night. We've been on here about 2.5 hours, right? So it's been a pretty productive night. Deja Moores just got here. I'm sorry that you got here late, hun. Would have been fun to get a chance to visit with you. But wait a sec. I'm back. People, can I get a 5 for 5 if this thing is working? Can somebody tell me how we're doing here? Anybody? You come across it anyway, ask to be let in, and most assuredly I will do that. There's about, as I said, I think I got about 50 or so people that have already jumped on board. By the way, I'm going to be doing a post on there about our own bell notification. People like Virginia and some of the other people are saying they don't get notifications when the boat goes live. Right? In theory, they should, but they're not getting it. So we're going to have our own bell, and I'm going to do an email blast to everybody before a video goes live. It'll also give me one more way to let you know of anything that's upcoming. Right? So that is happening, and I will announce that on. I'll announce it on the channel, but I'm also going to announce it on the lifeboat. Okay, see, now my call screener's just messing with me. I should honestly let you read this, because it says buffering. No, wait, we're good. No, buffering. No, it's back. No, buffering. No, it's not. No, it's yeah. So, makes a person wonder if I'm not just being messed with by Linda. All right, people, it was a tough start to a day, but it certainly finished pretty well. I feel pretty happy about it. And folks, I would just like to say that I am your captain. I am Tommy Scoville. People, thank you so much for tuning into the Lifeboat for our live feed, right? Tomorrow is Sunday, so going to go to church with the family. Later on in the afternoon, people, I most assuredly will be back here on the boat. We'll probably be doing the last day of lives, right, for a while. But I'm definitely going to go live at least once tomorrow. People, I love this format. I love that you come here and ask questions. I love that you talk back and forth with each other. This is a great deal we got going here, people. It really is, and I'm impressed with all of you. Sorry. To all of those who asked questions tonight that may have been beyond the scope of a convicted bank robber and a gun runner, please go and see a doctor. I am not a doctor. I don't play one on YouTube. I'm not. So, for those of you who had some serious issues in terms of your health or your mental, your happiness, then head off to a doctor. Go see somebody. Go see a professional. Seriously, life is too short for anhedonia, right? Life is too short to go through this ride without being happy, without feeling those emotions. And for those of you who say, well, I don't even want to be happy, not exactly sure how I can help that, but I'm going to keep you in my prayers. I promise you that. I'm going to keep you in my prayers. So, one last time, people, I am Captain Tommy Scoville. This is the Lifeboat. Now, do me a favor. You know the order, right? Yeah. All right, people. Get out there and save somebody. We'll see you on the next show, people. God bless. And this is the part where you laugh at me as I'm turning this off. Stop laughing, Fee.